All right, good morning and welcome to the live Q&A. I know no one will be on here right now, but you will eventually. So I will go ahead and start answering questions, excuse me, from Monday and then see if anyone's online and we will talk. So that's what we're going to do here. I think you can hear me. I just tested that out. No one watching. What does Matt do when no one's watching him on YouTube? Anything. All right, so first off, thank you for all your congratulations on the baby girls. They're all doing well. Mama's doing well, but we all need sleep. Anyway, Brian asked, when will you see Yub Nub babysitting your twins? Well, Brian, right after he finishes a mission for me, and somewhere in Phoenix, he's going to get me a backup copy of the Star Wars Queen's Gambit. So once he gets back, he'll babysit the girls. Let's see. Next one. A lot of questions here today. Edward says, "Hey Matt, are you still subscribed to Star Wars Insider? If not, what issue did you last collect?" I don't remember. I was giving them away to my best friend. It was in the 150s, but I stopped after the Blade Squadron story, which I believe was Star Wars Insider 149 and 150. Remember that was one. It's now a canon story, but back it originally came out as an expanded universe story in issue 149, and then in issue 150 they said, hey, all stories going forward are now part of the new canon. So that one kind of got looped into it. So it's one of the rare stories that had its foot in both canons at one time. And I consider it canon as part of the expanded universe? Yeah, because it originally came out as an old canon story. It was one of the last ones actually that came out. From definitely from Insider. Matthew has a few questions here. He says, what are your thoughts on Tales of Jabba's Palace? We're going to hear them very soon, Matthew, but overall I thought they were good. Which Ewok film is Yub Nub's favorite? He likes them both. He's just, he loves anything with Ewoks. Anything with Ewoks. Do you like good fan fiction? Yes, but there's not that much out there. I think total I've found about 6 to 8 decent fan fiction stories. I collected them and then I stopped. Most of it, a majority of it, 99% of it is garbage, outright garbage. I remember Joe Bongiorno, we were trying to look and find some good fan fiction. He was looking at some stuff. He'd gotten these, can't remember what they were, is a fanzine over in the UK, I think, where fans were submitting stories. He said, hey, maybe there'll be some good stuff here. He said he looked all through it and it was just garbage. So unfortunately, most of the Star Wars fan fiction is just plain utter garbage. But I remember combing through tons of fanfic sites to find something decent and good, and rarely finding anything. FQ says, what do you think of Palpatine's return in Episode 9? He said, since Palpy's return was one of the main complaints by EU haters, now they're praised Disney for doing the same. Well, it's Lucasfilm doing it, first off. But to be honest, yeah, that was something that everyone hated. I know someone told me that his laugh, I haven't seen the trailer, so his laugh is in the trailer somewhere. And it hasn't been 100% verified he's coming back, but when it is, I know a friend of mine who told me how stupid, he would tell me how stupid the Emperor being resurrected was and how it just totally discredited everything that Jedi stood for, Return of the Jedi. And so I'm waiting for, this to be fact that Palpatine's coming back, not just, rumor because you heard his laughter. But if it's a fact that he's alive or he's come back from the dead or been resurrected, I am going to just bombard him. I'm just going to, oh man, I can't wait. I held off from talking to him about it. I know he's a little worried because he knows what he said back in the day. But most people, remember the EU haters, they just hate the EU just because. They like to make up reasons, but to be honest, when you love a story, you love all parts of it. We know that with the expanded universe. There's some parts that probably aren't as good as others, but we still love them because it's part of the expanded universe. People are feeling that same way now with the new canon. Stuff they hated in the expanded universe. When it comes to the new canon, oh, they like it. They like it. It's wonderful. Well, you just didn't like the EU. You just never gave it a shot. you know, but oh well, what are you gonna do with those jokers, right? And I may say Makai Kishi Zero. I hope I said that right. Congrats on the fatherhood has. Oh, congrats, Matt. What wanted to ask you what you think fatherhood has changed you so far. I don't know, man. You know, more time out of my schedule for them, which is fine. I knew that. It's exciting. It's wonderful. Yeah, I wish they'd sleep a little bit more at night. But other than that, they're wonderful. Kids are great. Me and my wife are loving them, and every time we look at them, my wife's like, "Oh, they're just so perfect," and you know, and of course we're oohing and ahhing over them because we're mama and daddy, so we're super happy about them. Rob D says, "Do you think there should have been Infinity Star Wars novels?" No, I hated the Infinities comic books. When every Infinities comic books Dark Horse came out, or the Star Wars, you know, the original Vision by George Lucas, hated them. I did read them because Bruce was getting them, and he was my buddy, and I read them from him, and I hated them. Hated the Infinity storyline. I thought it was a waste of time for Dark Horse to do those because you know they can only do a limited amount of Star Wars stories. Whenever they chose to do those Infinities novels, I mean the comic books, ugh, I hated them. I hate what ifs. Okay, FQ again. He came back with more questions. He said, what do you think would have happened in the canceled EU books after Crucible, not just Sword of the Jedi, but also the Untitled Duology by Paul Kemp and the trilogy by Troy Denning? Well, if you remember on one of the videos, I told you what Troy Denning told me his trilogy was going to be about, the Anzadi, which I thought was a really awesome idea. I actually did a video 2 or 3 Halloweens ago, one of Yub Nub's Halloween specials, where I talked about what if, you know, what if the EU would have been continued, what would we like to have seen? And I believe, if I remember right, there's a story that Karen Traviss had in Fate of the Jedi about the Hutts losing control or failing to protect the fountain of whatever. And so the slaves they have, that was the deal. They'll be slaves for the Hutts as long as the Hutts protect that fountain. Well, of course, the fountain gets destroyed, and they're threatening to revolt from the Hutts. But then the New Republic has to come in and rule in the Hutts' favor that the alien race has to continue to be their slaves, which I thought was very interesting. And it got me thinking, wait a minute, are they going to start a Hutt controversy? Are the Hutts going to go against the galaxy? When is the New Republic going to stand up against the Hutt slavery, you know, and try to go against them? But then that would trigger a whole cascade of events when you think about it, because the Hutts obviously have bought off a lot of senators and a lot of people in the Senate, you know, so there's a lot of people who will be working for the Hutts' interests. So you got that political mystery and, you know, suspense there. And then at the same time, what if the Hutts all banded together and say, hey, these people are trying to squeeze us out. So let's band together and let's form, and they have an army. Together, all the Hutt clans can form this big army. And, you know, of course, there'll be internal struggle and deception within the Hutts because Hutts don't have any trust between each other. So eventually, you know, and at the end of this series, it'll all fall apart, right? The Hutts may be losing money, losing profit. War, to make war is not profit, you know, to supply for war is profit. And so maybe it just comes down to where one Hutt or a couple of Hutts just kind of take out the rest of the Hutts and divide their empire up and then split back into the galaxy, and life goes sort of back to normal. But I actually talked to Troy Denning about this. I said, did Karen Traviss have this for an idea? Because there's a few other things in the expanded universe you could point to and say, it looks like the Hutts are getting pushed around more and more. When are they going to say, no, we're not standing for this anymore, and put their foot down and really start causing a ruckus in the universe? And I remember Troy Denning looked at me. He said, I don't know. He said he didn't know why Karen Traviss had that side storyline in there. And he said, that's a neat idea. He said, but she never told me why she put that in there, that little side story with the Hutts and the fountain and everything. But for me, I thought it'd be very interesting if the Hutts were to have some conflict with the New Republic. I think that'd be awesome. He says, since you're also a fan of Lando, would you like to see Chance Calrissian get his own novels? Yeah, I would have loved to see more Chance. You know, we hardly get to know much of him except who, you know, he's Lando's son. But I would love to see him in more adventures. Now, for some reason, they were totally against the Calrissians being the close part of this family, which is kind of weird. I always imagined Lando would stick with them, you know, since they went through so many times together. I mean, Lando's in it every once in a while and he comes in, but I guess no one wanted to write Lando. I don't know. I've said this before. I really like Lando, and I wish we would have known more about his family life, about his older life. I mean, we find out a few things here and there, but basically a lot of the writers just had no interest in writing for Lando Calrissian, which is kind of sad. Spencer says, have you watched the new season of Cobra Kai? If so, what are your thoughts on it? Spencer, I loved it. I thought it was great. We're going to do a Saturday Morning Sam Flange in July on it. I told my buddy that we need to wait about 2 months because we're going to spoil the heck out of that thing when we talk about it. There's no way to talk about Cobra Kai without spoilers. But short answer, I did enjoy it. My buddy enjoyed it. We can't wait. We cannot wait to do the podcast. I thought about doing it next month in June. I said, that's still, even though there's only 10 episodes and it takes only 5 hours basically to watch all the way through them. I said, rule of thumb, let's wait 2 months, 2 months, and then we'll spoil galore. Josh Farr says, will you put up a poster of Admiral Dalla in the twins room? Ha, no, but I wish I could. Admiral Dalla, like I said, a great example for girls, for anyone. When you fail, you pick yourself back up and you try to do better. And every time she failed, and she failed a lot, she always picked herself up and kept rising in her position. So like I said, I really do like Dalla's story. He said in Marvel 108, and I'm glad you brought this up, by the way. It says Valance the Hunter is alive, but in Wikipedia it says that he died. Well, actually in the comic books he died. It says, so this is a resurrection. Does that mean you'd consider a resurrection for another character? He's meaning Anakin. And no, this is not probably a resurrection. Remember, these issues, if you've been watching the reviews, they did not come out in chronological order. I'm assuming this is a flashback. Remember, like the flashback we had of, was it Star Wars Annual 2 or 3? I can't remember. The one where they couldn't do a Han Solo story because currently he was frozen in carbonite. So they basically had Luke and his friends go to this planet and then hear a story. And that's what the majority of the comic book was about, was a Han Solo story. But it took place before, A New Hope, and it was way in the series by then. So you can jump around in the timeline. Remember, there's an Obi-Wan story. Someone was telling the story of Obi-Wan Kenobi from back in the Old Republic. And that was that was way into the Marvel comic book issues. I can't remember what issue that was. So it would be no difference that they would just go back and tell one little short story about Valance. I don't think you're going to see any contradiction here. And basically that's because everything I've heard about this writer, he wants to stay true to that Marvel Comics series. He knows Valance died. He's not an idiot. So he's probably going to set this up as happening. And I wouldn't be surprised if it said, because I don't know if it'll say 108 even. It may say 108, but I don't think I've seen the number on it on a cover. I've seen the cover, but don't know if it's going to have the number on it. Either way, though, I bet he's going to say this takes place. The following adventure takes place between, and he'll show the Marvel issues, and that's how it's going to be. He says, does George Lucas actually hate Mara Jade? And if so, why? He doesn't really hate her. I know there's that video where he tells those people to get out. When they talk about Mara Jade. That was fake. He doesn't mind about Mara Jade. I mean, according to Timothy Zahn, he read the books and he loved them. According to Timothy Zahn. Timothy Zahn got a letter saying that. So did a lot of the early authors. All right, Michael. What are your thoughts on to take on Marvel and the MCU if you could be on the creative development team? I don't know, man. I'll be honest. I have zero desire to see Miss Marvel and Captain Marvel, and I don't really care about. I still haven't seen Avengers Endgame. I'm not in a rush to see it. My wife would like to see it, but even she said after that she may be done with Marvel movies. I don't know. They just keep moving along, but I'm losing interest in them. Would you want to work for DC or Marvel Comics? DC. Love Batman. I don't know what kind of story I'd write. Oh, I do. It'd be about the Riddler. Favorite Star Wars comic right now? I don't know. I'll have to do a top 5 or top 10 favorite Star Wars comic books when I'm all done with my reviews. I'll probably do that. We did, remember, Bruce gave us his top 10 comic books, Star Wars comic books, and the Prince of the Universe podcast this month. Came out this month. And tell me something about the Twin Suns Foundation Celebration 2019. Just had a Matt Chat video on it. I think that landed today on theexpandeduniverse.com. He says, do you also wish that Force Unleashed 3 and Knights of the Old Republic 3 would be released in the future or have a future film? I don't think they'll have a movie at all. That's a zero chance. I would have liked to have seen Force Unleashed 3 come out because it did end on a cliffhanger. But if they just released the novel, not the game, I'd be happy with that because I was interested in the novel and where the story was coming from. And then finally, you say, tell us the difference about something between Star Wars Legends universe and the Star Wars comic timeline in the expanded universe. As far as I know, there is no difference. All right, Wicked Warwick. Matt, do you believe the Disney trilogy is going to be canon forever? And I mean, I've talked about this. I say maybe in another 20 years or so, they'll reboot it again. You know, I just feel that's what it's going to be. It's going to get, life is just full of reboots. So it'll be another, you know, like I said, 20, maybe even 30 years, but they'll eventually reboot it all because everything gets a reboot these days. Can't go on forever. Jedi Acolyte, what franchises or IPs, whether it be book, movies, TV shows, games, anime, etc., do you feel could use an expanded universe? That's easy. I've always said this. Tremors. Tremors only had the movies and their one-season TV show. I wish Tremors had comic books. I wish Tremors had novels. I'd love to read about Burt Gummer. I'd love to read about his adventures and the brothers too. You could bring, you know, Kevin Bacon and Fred Ward's characters back in novels and in, you know, comic books. But for some reason, no one's franchising that. In fact, I talked to John Whitman, John Walker, I can't remember his name. He's the well, he was running Gale Force 9, and he's done. He's picked up successful IPs like Homeland, Spartacus, Sons of Anarchy, and Firefly. Now, I've got the last three there games. I love Sons of Anarchy. Spartacus is one of my favorite games of all time, and so is Firefly. I mean, Gale Force 9 really hits it out of the park for me. As you know, Firefly and Spartacus were in my top 5. Okay. They're just, and they've solidly been in my top 5 ever since. They're just that good a game. If I played Sons of Anarchy a little bit more, it's not a top 5 game, but it would rise up a lot higher. I can't remember where it landed this year on my list. But anyway, the thing is, I actually got to talk to him for a while, and I told him, I said, they're always looking at IPs they can get. Now they just got the Dune IP, which is everyone's going bonkers over that because it was impossible to get the Dune IP because the family would not lease it out. So that was a big win for them. But I told him, I said, you need to do Tremors, man. He was like, oh yeah. He had zero interest. I don't know why. That they still make direct-to-TV movies and people still buy them up. And I know tons of people who will watch the Tremors movies. I was shocked. At work, I mentioned Tremors, and people were talking to me about Tremors 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. I was like, wait a minute, what? And they've seen 6. You know, a lot of people watch them the moment they come out because they still love Tremors. Why are they not franchising this? Why aren't they making memorabilia, T-shirts? I would have bought a T-shirt by now too. It's just so weird how they don't want to. The movie studio doesn't want to release the rights to. I get a comic book, get a book, get some, get some excitement growing about your movies that you're bringing out. I don't know. It's a sci-fi franchise too. You think they'd want to do that? Remember, Gale Force 9 got the rights to Firefly the game for pennies because Fox thought it was garbage. Fox thought, oh, no one wants to buy that, and now it's being, now everything's Firefly. You can buy Firefly or whatever. Now they're making money off of it because sci-fi fans always are diehard fans when it comes to memorabilia and expanded universe stuff. So Tremors would be perfect for the taking, but nobody wants to talk about it, which is really weird. I don't know why. If they still make direct-to-TV movies and direct-to-DVD, I say TV, direct-to-DVD movies, and people are still getting them. I mean, they got to deal with Netflix. I think they come out on Netflix too the same day as rental, but I buy it. I'll be honest, 6 wasn't that good. 6 was not good. So I'm hoping 7's coming out end of the year or first of next year. I'm hoping that'll be better because I did enjoy 5. 5 was much better than 4, and 4 sucks. But 6 is right above 4. I mean, 6 wasn't the best, sadly. But anyway, that you probably didn't want to hear all that. But Tremors, that's my answer. Okay, a lot of congratulations here. Sub Money, Matt, what do you think about Disney doing the Old Republic era, people that are waiting for on TV? I know nothing about it, so I can't really talk about it. Sorry. That one I don't know. I meant to look into it. I read that question earlier this week, sub money, and I meant to look into it, but I did not have the time. The girls did not allow me the time to look that up. So I'm sorry, I don't have an answer for you. Dark Novia has 3 questions for me. Have you ever watched a show where one of the episodes was so bad it ruined it all for you, and at one point where you had how you wanted nothing to do with it ever again? He mentions Game of Thrones, which some people are complaining about. The final season isn't delivering as they think it should. I haven't watched Game of Thrones. I will eventually because everyone's telling me to watch it, but I'm not in any rush. I'd love to read the books, but they're not completed. So, and he's going to die before he completes those novels. So I don't know what the point is. But anyway, yes, there was one show that one episode was so bad it ruined it for me. I kept watching it though, but I don't know if this was the episode that ruined it for me or it was definitely one of them. I was like, oh my gosh. Battlestar Galactica. Battlestar Galactica. I watched the first season. I thought, wow, this is great. I said, this is amazingly good. I said, maybe I should stop watching these and just buy the whole season on DVD. I said, that's how convinced I was. It was so good. I watched season 2. I was still enjoying it. Then I watched season 3. And I went, that wasn't that good. And I was like, ugh, that was a step in the wrong direction. I said, that's okay, because season 4, they'll make up for it and it'll be awesome. And season 4 was a dumpster fire. It was a dumpster. It was so awful. I hated every single person. Every single character was awful. And they just went against their characters too. It was so weird. It was so weird. It's like the show writers didn't care anymore and they just wanted to flip everything upside down. It was like flipping the table. That's what they did. And it was just awful. It was just a mess. One episode in particular, one thing I liked in the first season, and I think it was in the second season too, the president, the Earth's last president is on the ship. And she's keeping a tally of whatever humans are left alive. She gives that great speech about how, our job isn't to fight the Cylons. It is to fight extinction. She said humanity is about to become extinct. We only have, and whatever that number on the little marker board was. And remember, every time people die, she's erasing the number and it's going lower and lower because there's less and less humans now. And so it's, it's like, wow. And so I was obsessed with that number board. And then they did the wonderful episode where a child is born on the ship and she gets to add a number to the board. And I thought that was really nice too. But then later on in season 3 or 4 or something, one lady she finds out she's pregnant. She wants to have an abortion. Well, no, hello, we're extinct species. There is only a handful of us left alive in the galaxy. No, you can't get an abortion. And so they want the president to sign this into law, for their little colony. Well, back on Earth, she was pro-abortion. And now, oh no, it's conflict of interest, because do I stand by my old morals when the Earth was around? Or do I save humanity from extinction, which was my whole point? So what she does, she lets the girl have the abortion and then signs the bill. Aha. That way she kind of keeps her promise from her campaign back in the day where it doesn't even matter anymore. And yet she kills off someone else in humanity. I mean, it's just totally ridiculous. I mean, I was like, okay, what was the purpose of giving that speech at the beginning? What was the purpose of keeping the board? I mean, it was just totally against her character at the very beginning. I thought it was awful. And then every character was oh, you are not honorable. And then they would do something dishonorable in later seasons. You're like, wait a minute, all this talk about honor and about duty, and then you shirked yours. Oh, because it felt good. Well, everyone else did that too, and you got onto them. I just felt everyone was just two-faced in it, and no one had any morals or scruples at all. It was so aggravating to watch that series go down the dumpster. So that would be my example there of a show that I just thought, oh, awful. Started great and ended awful. What is your all-time favorite horror movie? You asked me this, and I do not know. I thought about it. The ones that have scared me the most were The Conjuring. That was the last one that really scared the pants off me. Conjuring 2 was really good too. All their spin-off movies are garbage. I've seen them all, but they're garbage. Only The Conjurings are the best. Grudge is really good. 1, 2, and 3, direct to DVD 3. I love that one too. but the first one really scared me after watching it. And then another one that really scared me, even though no one would probably find this scary, is Blair Witch Project. First time I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, it was just freaky. It's a freaky thing. I haven't seen it in a while, but I saw the sequel. Not the Blair Witch 2, but the new Blair Witch Project that came out a few years ago. Total garbage, total garbage. And I should have known it. I was hoping for, you know, that old Blair Witch feeling, but they never gave it. But the Blair Witch Project, the original one, was just really good. It was really good. I really enjoyed that one. I love horror movies. There's a ton of them I can think of. Dead Silence, I have seen a billion times. Beware the Eyes of Mary Shaw. Love it. Love it. I've watched that a billion times. I saw that in theaters. I bought it on DVD, and once every 2 or 3 years, it gets popped in because I got to see it again. It's just such a great movie. Grudge I haven't seen in a while, and I want to watch those again. My wife likes horror movies, but she likes the classic horror movies. Her favorites, we have all the Freddy's and all the, Friday the 13th, and I don't like those as much. But Halloween, Halloween's a pretty solid series. Up to, Halloween 6? When H2O is good, so 7's good. 8 was awful. Resurrection was terrible. And whatever reboot they had, I never watched it. My wife did, and she did not like the reboots. But the original Halloween, we'll watch the Halloween movies every other Halloween. We'll watch like this past Halloween, we watched all 8 of the original series movies. And, my wife and I had a fun time, and 2 more years we'll watch it. My wife wants to watch Halloween every year. She wants to watch the entire series in October. I refuse to do that. I'll do it every other year. Same thing with Jaws. She loves watching Jaws. She could watch Jaws every year. I'll watch those every other year with her, which means I think this summer we'll be watching Jaws, because in the summer we watch all 4 Jaws movies. And I think 3 is actually the worst. I actually like 4 better than 3, which is really weird because everyone let's see, 1 is the best by far. 2 is a very solid movie, but not as good as 1. 3 is way, way, way down. And 4 is, it jumps over 3 at least. I think I like 4 better than 3, but those movies are nothing compared to 2, and of course 1 is just epic. Such a great movie. The book is really good too. I got her the book a few years back when we read it, and the book's different. It's a different ending and basically a different storyline. Steven Spielberg really switched up the storyline, which I'm glad he did, because the movie is, oh hey, there's an example. I think the movie's better. Oh, I don't know. The ending of the book, I don't want to spoil the book for you, but there's certain characters who do not make it, but that they're alive in the movie, but they died in the book. And I really did enjoy that. And I thought the ending was really good too, even though the ending to the movie was really good too. So I don't know, but there's a lot of stuff in the middle that in the book that I thought was just like, anyway, you didn't ask for the Jaws review, did you? They're having a Jaws board game come out too. I say this because my wife's a big Jaws fan. I'm going to look into that. I may get it if it's decent. Your last question is, how often do you listen to audiobooks? Not very often. I just listened to all the Jim Daly's Harry Potter books again. That's my second time to go through Jim Daly's Harry Potter. I think it's fan-friggin-tastic. Besides that, only a handful of Star Wars books I've ever listened to an audiobook before. But yeah, I don't listen to audiobooks. Not a big audiobook guy, me personally. All right, let's see if anyone is on here. Oh wow. Here we go. I'll move this aside here so I don't leave this up. Okay. All right, here we go. Ooh, wow. Oh, glad to see people are on here. I thought I was just talking to myself still. When you say all fan fiction, Dark Phoenix says, when you say all fan fiction is garbage, you mean all Star Wars fan fiction or all fan fiction in general? I haven't read fan fiction in general, mainly Star Wars fan fiction, but a lot of that fan fiction is garbage. Oh no, WB Atkins is at work. That sucks. If you could live in any fictional universe, which one would you choose and why? Oh gosh. I mean, maybe the Star Wars universe, because I want to meet real life Ewoks and maybe adopt one. Surely there's an adopt an Ewok program by now. Yeah, that'd be it. My bookshelf. I moved all my books over here now because I got a new gaming shelf. So what else would I like to see? Oh, Narnia. Oh, I'd love to visit Narnia. Oh, Middle Earth. I'd love to visit Middle Earth too. Oh, wait a minute. I want those more than Star Wars, probably. Maybe Narnia. Over Middle Earth? Maybe Narnia. Hold on. The Harry Potter Wizarding World would be nice. Dune would be awful. Anderson that Bone will be interesting. Yeah, man. If I have to pick one, I'll say Narnia right now. Right now, I'll say it. That's a hard one. Well, that's a hard one. I would like to see Ewoks though too. So Star Wars would be in there. Tevia says, "How's my day going?" Tevia, pretty good. Not much sleep last night, but pretty good. Yeah, I do hate what ifs. I know what Marvel had the comic book What If, and I'd look at it here and there, but then I thought, what was the point of doing that comic book? I used to say that all the time in the comic book store. I remember the issue came out and said, "What if Rogue had the power of Thor?" And I remember saying, well, if that happened, no one would buy our comic book. And the comic book guy really, he fell out laughing. He thought that was really funny. I'd always make fun of the What If issue that came out that month. Nexus Prime, how long until you and Joe get Joe on your podcast? I want him on my podcast right now. I'm just trying to grab the most convenient guest I can. So not anytime soon, not this summer. I'd like to do it later on this year. I haven't talked to Joe in a while. Ever since I've had the kids, I haven't talked to anybody. But I'm trying to get people who can get in here and do the podcast with me and work around my odd schedule with the girls. Right now, I think in June, my brother has another book coming out. I just read it. To be honest, it's the best one he's ever written uh, so far. I've liked this one the best. So he's going to come on. He's going to talk about that in June. In July, I know Bruce is going to get back on. We're going to do kind of like a nerd update. Bruce lives like right around the corner from me. Saturday morning, Sama Flange. Oh, well, Joe wouldn't be on that. I already have those two worked out, but I just need to work. I can't. Joe has a busy schedule. So do I right now. But when the girls get on a better sleeping schedule, I'd love to have him on. I think Joe's just a phenomenal person. And that would probably be, since I try to keep the episodes an hour apart, I'd have to break that up into like 4 or 5 segments because Joe and I can go on for 4 or 5 hours. And I don't know about Joe, but to me, it never gets boring. He is not a boring man. I love talking to him. He and Rich Hanley both, man. I've talked. I can't think of any conversation I've had that have gone like 6 hours. I mean, literally, I think it was 5 hours, 6 hours. Joe and I talked the first time we ever talked on the phone, and we talk for hours. When we do talk, it's very rare. We don't talk that much. But same thing with Rich. Rich and I will talk. I think it was 4.5 hours the first time, and like 3.5 the second time, only because we both it was getting too late. And we both had to go. But they're great guys. I mean, just awesome guys. So I needed to have both of them on there. They both agreed they'd do it. It's just getting the time available. But now that the girls are here, just give me a moment. Oh, was it Christy Golden? You're right. It wasn't Karen Travis. I said Karen Travis. It was Christy Golden. You're exactly right. Because Fate of the Jedi. Yeah, it was Christy Golden. Excuse me, Christy Golden. You're right. Any opinion with Star Wars Clone Wars making a comeback within Disney Plus? I don't care. It's going to be all new canon if it is. Is there any EU comic you wish were adapted for a novel? Oh yeah, you're right. Dark Empire for you, Dark Empire for me too. Which what? If let me name another one. Tales of the Jedi. Tales of the Jedi would have been awesome. I don't even know what Rise of Skywalker is. I'm sorry, Tevia. I'm out of it. I don't know any of the new Star Wars stuff. Okay, 108's on the cover. Good. Uh, do I like Fortnite? No, I don't play many online. I've seen it. I'm not into it. I don't know anything about The Mandalorian. Don't know anything about new Star Wars. Sorry. How do I feel about Kathleen Kennedy pushing for an old Republic era movie? I I don't know. Don't know. I haven't heard of that. So pizza or pasta? Pizza. Great question, Patrick. Revicus, what is your favorite piece of continuity reference in the EU? Mine would probably be the Labyrinth of Evil's timeline connections that fit perfectly with the entire Clone Wars multimedia project, even Clone Wars. I don't know, but I have a feeling it'd be something that Ryder Wenham wrote because he made so many nuance. No, never mind. I know where it is. It's in the Fate of the Jedi series where they talk about B. Author's character makes a guest star appearance just for a little while. From B. Author's character from the Star Wars Holiday Special. Like this lady is like ancient and she's still alive during this time, but someone thought I think what was her name Akmeda or whatever is the bartender's name. Someone put her in a novel, and I thought that was awesome. Another one was when Sindel Tatwani was in the Black Fleet Crisis. She's mentioned in the Black Fleet Crisis, and I like that one too. Those have been my two favorites, probably connections. Oh, hello from Belgium. Whoa! I thought I caught up. Oh, and I'm not. I'm so far behind. That's funny. I was like, well, I'm all caught up now. James, you know what? I've never seen The Hills Have Eyes. Never seen it. I should. That's a classic one. Hereditary was actually a pretty good movie. That was a pretty good movie. I enjoyed that. The Missus hated it. It had everything, every trope the Missus hates in horror movies. That movie had. Opinion on Shazam. Actually, I just saw Shazam, whatever. Um, Ooh, hate to say this, but I thought it was overrated. I just people just built it up. They said this is the best DC movie ever. Is it? Yeah, but only by default again. I mean, because nothing else has really been that good. It sucks because all of the funny scenes were in the all but two funny scenes were in the previews. The previews showed all the funny scenes. Because when I was watching, I was like, okay, that was from the preview. That's from the trailer. That's from the trailer. That's a funny one. That's from the trailer. That's from the trailer. Oh, yeah, that's funny. And that was it. I only think I only laughed twice at the movie, and I didn't think the movie was that good. And I love DC. I love DC comic books a billion times over Marvel, but I didn't like Shazam. I haven't read Gary Kuntz's original plans for episodes 6 through 9. I'm sorry, Quantum. I never read them. Whoa. Oh man, I thought I made it to the bottom again and I'm still all right, hold on. Every time you scroll down, it like just goes all the way to the bottom. I have to go back up and see where I was. Akmena, that's it. That's right. Yeah, that was a great mention. I can't remember which book it was, but it was like at the end of just one of the chapters she's mentioned very quickly. I'm fine with people loving Shazam. It just wasn't my type of movie. Uh, X-Ray, hey Matt, if the Ewok movies happened before Jedi, how come Wicked doesn't speak English? You know what? I am in the opinion. I know in the chronology that they're supposed to happen before Return of the Jedi, but in my opinion, they do not. They happen after. Um, because you're right. They would be able to speak basic and they wouldn't be cooking Ewoks. Now, Joe, I think, still puts it before because he said that the reason they stopped is because if you stop speaking in a foreign language, you'll forget it, which is true. And Logray was turning to the dark side by that time. And so he was kind of influencing how the Ewoks thought and felt about things with his force abilities. There was an article, I remember if I remember right, there was an article on this a long time ago on StarWars.com, even though don't quote me on that because I can't remember it. I don't have a link and I'm just trying to recall off the top of my head. But I remember about Logray being, or maybe it was one of the source books, about Logray falling to the dark side, which is why the Ewoks wanted to originally eat Luke, Han, and Leia, or Luke and Han. So, but anyway, I would technically put those after. I think I have those after Jedi. I have to look and see, but I think I have them. Well, I reviewed them separately, but I think I would consider them after Jedi too. Because isn't Logray in the books? I mean, in the movies as well. Yeah, he is. He is in the movies as well. So I'd put it all after. And maybe he swayed from coming back from the. I don't know. I don't know. That's something maybe I can talk to Joe about. Tevia, how do you feel about people using the term SJW and everything they don't like? Yeah, I know those people. The fandom menace is not our friends. They're not our friends. They don't support the expanded universe. They just hate The Last Jedi, which is fine. I mean, that's fine to have that opinion, but they're not fans of the EU. They're the ones I see put that on there. Watching Avengers 2.5 Civil War and Spider-Man Homecoming, do you feel that Spider-Man in each film are two completely different characters? No, I don't. I mean, he's hardly in Civil War. He's hardly in Civil War, so I would say no. But I haven't watched it. Well, I've never watched those movies a second time. I never watch a Marvel movie twice. It's weird. I don't think I have. I can't recall ever watching a Marvel movie twice. So off the top of my head, no. What's your opinion about cherry pickers who like the new canon and is just picking and choosing elements from the EU to reintroduce? I personally don't see the point of wiping the EU then. Well, yeah, I mean, you're going to have people like that. There's a lot of people who like to pick stuff out of the new canon and say, "Hey, this can fit in the old canon," and I am against that. Obviously, I prefer them to be separate, but some people like to mix canon. I'm not one of those. Quantum says, how long do you think it'll take for Marvel to reboot Star Wars time travel with time travel as they do with X-Men every few years? I don't know. I hope they don't do time travel in Star Wars. That'd be an even bigger mess than what they have. Do you like the Star Wars Gamer magazine? I did. I did like it back in the day. I don't know if it's still around, but I did like it, the older issues. I have them all, of course, because it had, Star Wars short stories in there. So I did enjoy it. Oh, I'm sorry. You're talking about cherry picking from the EU. Well, cherry picking stories from the expanding universe and putting them in the new stories. That's going to happen. And to be honest, they bought the whole. Disney bought Lucasfilm. They bought all the old stories. They're their own stories. They can cherry pick whatever they want, put it in. They're going to do that. But it does. You can call them liars now because they said the reason they got rid of it was to give them better creativity. Where we're not seeing that. We're seeing them take all the creativity from these books instead. So I think getting rid of the expanded universe, the reason they gave us is a bold-faced lie. They should have said, "Hey guys, we just wanted to do away with it and start over again." They should have just been honest about it. And so I said, "Well, it really hinders our creativity." Actually, not. It inspires all your creativity from those stories. You can point to a lot of stuff in the new canon and point to stuff in the expanded universe and say that's where you got it from. And you're right. That's where they got it from. So, and that's not to say that these stories told everything there was to tell. The expanded universe was full of creativity. But anyway, I've done videos on that. Do I support attacking the Phantom Menace because they're not EU fans? No, you don't attack them. I just don't think people are like, yeah, saying, yeah, these people are on our side. They hate the new Star Wars too. Yeah, that's the only thing you have in common with them, though. They know nothing about the expanded universe or hardly anything. Should you attack Phantom Menace fans? No, that'd be dumb. But the same thing is, though, they're not EU fans. They're not. I mean, they could be both. There's some that maybe like the excuse me, the expanded universe, but a lot of those Phantom Menace fans that I've seen, they just hate Last Jedi. They hate the direction Lucasfilm is going in right now. But that doesn't mean they're harping for more EU. So, yeah. Any words on the recent passing of Peter Mayhew? Well, it's always sad when one of the original cast members pass away. But he was getting old, and I think he wasn't in the best health the last few years too, which was sad. Nerms Forgotten says, have you been on Wikipedia recently and seen the mess that it is? Canon tabs on EU characters and events. Lore is getting mixed in between the two, and I don't think they will bother correcting legends. No, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I don't check Wikipedia as much anymore. I mean, hardly at all now. For my timeline, it would be very rare for me to check Wikipedia. I know earlier I said that, you know, every once in a while I will go to Wikipedia when I'm hammering out the timeline, but Wikipedia is it's not necessary for me to do my study now. And I mean, every once in a while I'll look them up, but I haven't been on there in a while, so no, I do not know. That's a great. Matt doesn't support attacking anyone. He's an adult. Right there on the nose. That's right. Yeah. Why attack them? What was your favorite short stories in Star Wars Gamer? Ugh. Panaka and the Hidden Underwater Base was a good one. I agree with that. Matthew, I don't know. I'd have to see them all in front of me, but I don't know. But I think Star Wars Gamer had a lot of good stories. But I agree with you. That Panaka story is actually really good because we don't have many Panaka stories. Oh, Colin Jones says, hey, I finally caught you. Hey, Colin. Is that how you say your name, Colin? I think about this. When I say someone's name, they say, oh, you mispronounced my name. I'm sorry. Michael says, let's talk more about Chuck Wendig and Benjamin Hart from the SWU podcast. No thanks. I don't care about those people. There are some fandom ministers that are getting into EU, which is great. Oh, no, that's great too. I mean, that's great. I mean, like I said, I suggested to a few of them about the expanded universe. Some of them didn't seem to care, or they definitely didn't know it was around. So maybe they will like the expanded universe. I'd like to talk to some of these people, fandom ministers, and tell them this and that. But at the same time, I've in the past, when they first came out, I heard so many people like, yay, more fighters for our side. They're not for our side. They watch and they enjoy the new Star Wars. They just didn't like Last Jedi. You know, if I'm right, that's what fandom ministers are. And I know there's been some hate and division between the fandom about it, but there's always going to be division, it looks like. And just people just need to grow up. That's what it boils down to. Any opinion on DC Comics and a certain series called Super Sons, which stars Jonathan Samuel Kent, Superboy, and Superman of Lois and Lane, Damian Wayne, Robin, son of Batman, Talia? Oh, wow. No. I didn't even know about that, Tavia, but I'd love to read it. I like Batman stories. I don't even I updated on Wikipedia. So would you like to update more Legends facts on Wikipedia? Yeah, but they're so it's awful. Every time well, back in the day, I did a few updates and they kept saying, you need to show us proof. I said, proof? I said, I just told you what book it was. Is it a page number, please? Page number? So I looked at the page number, gave them the bottom paragraph. And then they finally approved it. And I was like, what the heck? I'm not, why would I put this lie up there? I mean, now I guess they have people lie to them all the time, but I just got too fiddly. They got too fiddly. So I just stopped updating stuff. And that was years ago. Years ago, I used to do that. Column says close enough. Sorry. Nern says, I am LGBT, SGW even, and I am completely fine with expanded universe. Yeah, that's fine. Here's the thing. There's this whole myth that if you love the new Lucasfilm, they're making this political now, right? You must be on the left. But if you fight for what is right, then you're part of the right. And you're fighting for that. And I mean, yeah, maybe that's because some of the bigger speakers are conservatives and liberals on both sides. Maybe that's where it's coming from, but that could not be farther from the truth. Farther from the truth. There are tons of people. I spoke about this on the last Q&A, I think, but Dark Novia, he was on this podcast and he said that, you know, I am a leftist. I am extreme left. And I hate the new Disney, you know. I love the expanded universe. And, you know, it's like, I hate that we're defined as the right. And he's right. Just because some of the speaker heads are either conservative or liberal does not mean the whole movement sways that way. And why do you have to make this political? That's the thing I don't understand. But there's a mix of people who, you know, from both political sways, who all loves the new Star Wars or all hate it. You know, but people like to put labels on things. That's how we like to put labels. We got to put labels on it. So I do think it's stupid, but good point. Never saw, sorry, Tavia, don't know anything about Dark Vader short film. I haven't been keeping up on that kind of stuff. I apologize. Which canon tier do I put supernatural encounters in? That will be in the, that's a great question. Mr. Johns. There you go. I didn't say your last name. It's a great question. I would put that in the old canon. Definitely the old canon. Oh, this is stupid. If you were in the Star Wars universe, what era would you like to live in profession, and a planet to live on? No Endor, no Ewoks. Well, then it wouldn't be fun. I mean, okay, then you know what? I'd like to be maybe a farmer on Naboo. I want a vacation planet then. I want a nice tropical planet. You know, I may as well live it nice. I don't have to have, I don't want a hard life. I don't be, you know, hunting for my meals like a bounty hunter or something, even though it'd be cool, but it'd be kind of lonely and kind of boring. I want to have fun. Ewoks know how to party. I'm just saying. Endor would be great. Ewoks know how to party. Did you ever have trouble getting a rare book only for it to suck? Yeah, a lot of these rare or hard to find stories aren't that good, but they're worth a lot because everyone's looking for them. Like, where is it? There it is. Here, Dig magazine #2, The Lost City of Tatooine by David West Reynolds, I believe. This one went on eBay, or one similar to this. I think it sold for 180, 185 or something. Are you serious? It's just a short story. You can find the short story, download a copy of it, and read it. Why do you need the magazine? People go nuts over this. Nuts. I could honestly get $500 for this. I had someone offer me 500 bucks. No. Okay, first off, you can get the copy of the story, but I know as a collector, we want the actual story in hand. But when it came to this, if I didn't have this and I just had a printout of the story, I'd be happy with that. I would. There are a few, actually a lot of role-playing books. Some of them that Chris Nelson is going over, I have, but I only have digital copies. There was Drive Through RPG, I think is what it's called. And they had just a bunch of, and I bought the downloaded digital copy and just printed them all out. Do I have all of those magazines, those polyhedron, those, what were the other ones? A ton of other ones. I don't have the actual magazines, but I have all the material that came with it. And I'm fine doing that. I don't have to track down every single magazine. Now, Chris is doing it because it's something cool and it's interesting. To be honest, if you don't, Christopher Nielsen, if you haven't checked out his channel on YouTube, do it. If you like Star Wars role-playing stuff or odd and hard to find expanded universe stuff, it's been just a blast to watch the videos he's been putting out on it. But at the same time, I'm like, you know what? I'd be happy with digital copies of all of that. I don't have to have the physical book, but that's just me. I mean, every once in a while, like I remember a few years ago, I told everyone I got the Shadis Presents because it has a little short adventure in there. And I got that one. That's because it was like super cheap. And if I can find it and it's just a one-off, RPG, I might get it. And he lives in an area next to Noble Knight Games. I'm not sure if that's where he's getting them, but they have a lot of that old RPG magazines and stuff like that. And if so, he's in a great position to buy them all up. And to be honest, if I was in that position, I'd buy them all up too. But for me, a printout for something like that is fine for me. But that's just me. Sometimes people pay, in my opinion, they pay way too much for stories. But hey, it's worth whatever it is to you. Because I'll be honest, there's some stuff I have bought, and you're thinking, oh, Matt, that is a lot of money to spend on that. Yeah, but it was worth it to me. So I can't really blame someone for wanting to spend almost $200 on that magazine or offering me $500. I don't think you should. But to them, that's how much it's worth. I get that. It's just that, yeah, you're buying a story, and that's not the best story in the world either. It's a very forgettable story. It was interesting, but it's not the best by far as short stories go. It's more about the collection and the thrill of the hunt. That's what it's about. I do think Qui-Gon would have stopped Anakin from falling to the dark side, which is why the Force had to kill him. Yeah, had him killed. Yeah, agree with that. I didn't review the short story Constant Spirit by Jennifer Heddle. 145? I don't know. Jennifer Heddle is part of the new. She's over the new fiction. That sounds like it would be new. I don't know. I can look and see, but I don't know. But 9 times out of 10, whenever someone says, you missed this, Matt, I didn't. And when I do it again, I say, wait a minute, I think I did this before. And then people start saying, yeah, you did this before. Finding out that. So, hold on, let's see. Hold on. Before the prequels, how did you ever imagine Vader looked under the suit? Like Sebastian Bach, the actor who played him in Return of the Jedi. I thought like it'd be like a younger version of that. That's what I always thought. Obviously, we get to see. Is that the actor's name? Sebastian Bach? I can't remember. Sebastian Shaw or something. You get to see him in the original cut from Return of the Jedi, and I always imagined it'd be a younger version of him. That's what I always thought. All right, hold on. Let me check something out here. I don't know how long I've been doing this. You got a hard cutoff time. All right, so let's do this. Let's see. The best thing to do about the infighting that's going on right now about this and that, well, I'm Phantom Menace, well, I'm EU, and you suck. Why are you going to fight against each other? Everyone has their own opinion, and that's fine. It's totally fine. It's totally fine if someone has that opinion. Well, can you like the new canon and the old? I'm so tired of hearing that question. Yes. Yes, you can. Why can't you? You become a gatekeeper when you start saying what people can and can't do. Don't be a gatekeeper. Don't be a gatekeeper. People can like other things. They can like I said, people can mix canon. People mix Joe Bongiorno, if you haven't noticed yet, he mixes canon. There's new stories, new EU stories in his timeline. That's why his timeline, in my opinion, isn't perfect. And I love Joe, and Joe knows this. Joe knows I don't like mixing canon. And Joe and I have talked about mixing canon. He loves doing it. That's his stick. Now, I don't agree with him. So we left it at that. Guess what, folks? We're still friends. We still talk, and I love that man to death. Okay? But I will not mix canon, and I do not, and I think his timeline is flawed only because of that. And he disagrees. But you know what? It's totally fine. It's totally fine. And he's fine with me too. It's like, oh, okay, we can agree to disagree and still be friends. Wow. You know what that's called, folks? In one word, maturity, which is what people on the internet obviously don't have. It's so weird. If we have like Bruce, when he's reading the new canon stuff, he actually likes a lot. He watches the movies and everything. He didn't hate Last Jedi. He loved Last Jedi. Okay, does that mean he and I can't be friends? No, we do a podcast together. We're still best friends. And the weird thing was when we first discussed this, when I told him, I think I'm done with Star Wars. And he said, well, I think I'm going to keep watching. And we said, okay. And we just left it at that. I had no idea that this big outrage was going to come up on the internet about people going, if you like the EU, you suck. And EU people going, if you like the new canon, you suck. And I'm going, why? Why fight like that? That's weird. It was weird to me. But people always want to be those gatekeepers, say what people can and can't do. Sadly, here's the fact. People do whatever they want to do. They can. Okay? Doesn't mean you have to agree with it. You don't have to agree with it. People make certain lifestyle choices that I don't agree with, but hey, that's their life. It's their life. If someone ever came to you with your opinion, like people say, Matt, what do you think about this? I'll definitely give my opinion. But does that mean Matt's the final authority on that? No, he's not. Well, Matt says mixing canon is bad, so therefore mixing canon is bad. No, Matt just thinks mixing canon is not his forte. I don't agree with mixing canon, but hey, people do it. But I don't draw a line in the sand either. I don't draw a line in the sand on that. Shoot, you could talk about, I'm trying to think of something outside, not trying to get political or anything, but even the political realm, man, there's a few of you, especially, some people know I'm a conservative already. I can go ahead and say that, I guess. I don't care. Conservative, but I guarantee if you're a liberal and we could hang out. Definitely. We could definitely hang out. We'd have tons of stuff to talk about. We'd have and we'd have a lot of fun. We'd have a lot of fun. We have differences in opinion, and that'd be fine, but we could still hang out and still be friends. How do I know that? I have tons of friends who are on both sides of the political realm. I have tons of friends who are all sorts of spectrums of all sorts of life. Okay? I have tons of friends like that, and we can be friends. You don't have to agree about every single stupid thing. It's like, okay, if you got to be my friend, you have to love the color red and ham and cheese sandwiches. If you don't like that, then you're not a good person. It's almost essentially what we're saying these days. If you do not follow everything I like, if you like what I hate, then we are enemies. Sworn enemy. You get too much time on your hands, dude. Life's too short to hold those grudges. I mean, all that stuff was fine in high school, but if you graduated high school, you need to leave that kind of stuff behind. So I've kind of gone a little too much on a ramble here. I apologize. But that's what I think about the whole thing there. Because I'll be honest, any single one of you, no matter what your beliefs are, no matter what you look like, where you go, where you're from, what you do, what you believe in, you come over to my house, I'll take you over to mom. She's going to feed you some jambalaya. It doesn't matter who you are, what you believe in, what you look like. Everyone loves mom's jambalaya or muffaletta. I want a muffaletta now. And then you come over and play some games with me, or we can talk Star Wars, or we can talk whatever, That's how it's going to be. It's okay to have differences. It's all, and to be honest, it's okay to discuss those differences. You can discuss them in a civil manner as well. I'd make some suggestions, but people would get upset. But there's a guy who does well, you know this. He does a change my mind segment. I really think it's really awesome because he wants both sides to present and have a civil argument, have a civil discussion. Excuse me, not an argument, civil discussion. And I think that's really key. Really nice to have a civil discussion on things. What do you think about some EU stories being adapted into films like X-Wing series, Jedi Academy trilogy, and Thrawn trilogy? I mean, I'd love to see all those Firehawk as films, but I don't think we would. I'd love to see them though. Jay Cannon for Joe Cannon. Yes, Chris. Totally agree with that. How do you feel about Alex Starr said, how do you feel about DC Comics post Rebirth? I haven't read that much. My brother has read a lot, and he loved Rebirth. I think he loved Rebirth, and afterwards he's been so on it. I don't read comic books as much anymore, even though he gave me a bunch of books to read. I'm reading old Uncanny X-Men stories right now. I'm not a Marvel fan, but I have a big Marvel collection I bought, and I'm reading through it. My brother has some extra X-Men. He said, here, read this. I was like, okay, fine. It's okay. But he also gave me the entire run of Image's Death Blow, which I can't wait to reread again. I read it as a kid a long time ago. I remember Bruce really loved Death Blow. Somebody reading that. So I don't read as much. I want to read DC. If these were all DC comic books, I'd be super happy. I mean, I like old Image too, but I love DC. I know DC has a streaming service now or something where you can go in the library and get read a bunch of the comic books. I'm more and more tempted to purchase that service and start reading those DC comic books. I just need to have the time. Colin Jones. So S Cannon instead of J Cannon. I like J Cannon. We're gonna go with Chris's J Cannon. That's funny. Favorite Legends only spaceship. Oh, Eckert's Ladder. Oh my gosh. I don't know. Wow, that's a great question. I don't know. You know what? I always was keen to the Far Star from the Dark Strider campaign. Is that what it's called? The Far Star? I think it is. Yeah, I think it is. I've always been keen to that ship. That's probably not the answer you wanted, but I kind of like that one. Tevia says, what profession would I want to be in the Star Wars universe? This Jedi Sith, a bounty hunter, trooper, smuggler. Out of those three, probably a Jedi. Have I read Histories of Herodotus? No, I have not, Alex. Haven't read that one. Exterminate says, why don't I actually try the new books or comic books? To be honest, I have zero interest. Remember, I don't dog. I mean, they're fine if other people want to read them. I just don't have interest in them. I just have zero interest in the new canon. I just decided that because the expanded universe is what I really loved about Star Wars. And when they said we're done with that, I said, okay. I mean, there really wasn't any reason. I like the movies okay, but I like the books better. I love that. This is the reason, these books are the reason I'm a Star Wars fan. So when they said we're done, it's like, okay, well, I'm done too then. I've been totally fine with it. I don't mind if people read them. I don't mind if people watch and enjoy the new stuff. There's another good friend of mine. He does videos and he reviews all that stuff. He loves it. I'm happy for him. I'm happy for him. But I've got other things I want to spend my time on. My time is very precious to me. I got 2 little girls. I want to spend my time with them. And I've got board games. I want to spend my time with that, and friends and family. And I want to spend my time with that rather than catch up with the Star Wars stuff. To be out of the game of the new Star Wars doesn't bother me at all. And I'm fine if other people want to read it. But remember, I don't do videos trashing the books and movies and whatnot. Yes, I do make the occasional joke about the movie or a book, but other than that, I really don't bother with that. Yeah, Revingus. Chris loves looking for that unlicensed stuff. He's been doing an excellent job getting that stuff. Again, folks, if you haven't checked out his channel, it's just Christopher Nelson, I think. It's been really, really interesting and very entertaining. I've really enjoyed some of the videos you've made, Chris. Eckert's Ladder, the channel that does the collecting of obscure stuff, is Christopher Nelson right now. It's mainly RPG magazines and stuff, and the story behind it and his thoughts and his short reviews of it are just very informative. I've really enjoyed them. Oh, everyone answered that question. Okay, did I get to the bottom? Ah, did it freeze? It froze. Oh no, it froze. Oh no. Oh, hello. All right, I think I have to end this soon. I just don't remember when I started. That's not good. Anyway, all right. I'm trying to get back to where I was. Favorite chapter in Plagueis? I don't know. That's a great question. I don't know it. You can always check them out on expandeduniverse.com as well. Actually, you take the blame for X-Wing 1/2. What's that? Oh, I mean, it's been a while for X-Wing 1/2. Oh, Tivia, I'm not a big God of War game. I'm not a big video game player anymore. I'm sorry. Don't have an answer for that. Appreciate the question though. Oh, come on now, dude. Oh, and someone just wrote down Matt doesn't play games. Stephen, I think what he mean by the Force killing Qui-Gon is the Force destined it to be, you know, Qui-Gon's death. Ozab says, "Hey, Matt." I say, "Hey, back." Sebastian Shaw. I did say that later on, Captain Wilhelm. I did correct myself later on, but thank you. Okay. All right. Constant Spirit. I did review it. I did review it then because I know that story then. If it's this build up before Razor's Edge, I reviewed it. It's in there. So how am I doing today, Alex? I'm tired. I had 2 baby girls wake me up early this morning. Ooh, lots of discussion in the chat room. Sorry, this is the boring part where I'm trying to read and find questions. Oh no, oh no. And then when I scroll too far down, did I love the Aquaman movie? I thought it was okay. My wife liked it, but we both thought it was way too long. And I don't understand why they had to have 2 villains in it. I thought Black Manta would have been a great character on his own, and then Ocean Master, whatever his name was, would have been fine as a sequel, or maybe the first one, split them up somehow. No opinion on Doom Patrol or Young Justice. Haven't watched much of the DC universe on TV. If you were to pick one idea to be made into a fan film, what would it be? One idea from the expanded universe? I mean, they wouldn't do a good job with it, but I'd love to see New Jail Order, something from the New Jail Order. Firehawk, I know that there were some EU books and games that were canceled after Star Wars was purchased, like Sword of the Jedi, but do you think the Lucasfilm is running out of stories to tell? No. I think there's plenty of ideas. I think the authors had plenty of ideas, and they could have gone on forever. X-Ray, what are my baby girls' names? Meridian and Piper. Meridian Lee, Lee after my grandmother, Piper Gwen after my mom, whose name is Gwen or Wendy. Mind Flayer, they're not sleeping through the night. Every 2 hours, they're up. I'd love to read a Darth Zana trilogy. I know Drew Carpenter said he'd love to do one too. Whoa, 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 whoa. Come on, Eckhardt's Ladder. Have I ever thought about doing obscure lore videos? Think people would like that. I mean, my thing right now is to do reviews through the entire EU chronology. After that, I'd be open for ideas. I'd be open for ideas because you're right. There's lots of things to explore, I think. Hey man, do you think if they really, Quantum says, if they really wanted to give Anakin a Padawan, do you think they should have gotten more similar one to Jason Todd, whereas Anakin got where he dies and Anakin lives with the guilt and starts his obsession? That'd be a good one. That'd be a good storyline, but they didn't go with it, sadly. Wait. Well, Eckhardt's Ladder, you're saying obscure stuff for the average reader, like Legends, Connections, classic newspaper shorts. I already do stuff like that. When I review some of these books and short stories, I'll show the wild connections they have, or just the rare, like I've done Fuzzy as an Ewok, Shiny as a Droid, and we're going to do a few more like that later on. And I love the odd and obscure stuff, and those are some of my favorite episodes to talk about. Or the stuff where there's like a short story that mentions this and this, or a little kitty book that connects to this and this. I love that type of stuff. So I already do that, but maybe something concentrated on all of those in one video, maybe together, that'd be something interesting to do later on after I'm done. I never taught history, Alex. It was my major in college. Favorite history as War Between the States was an interesting time. I like all history though, but War Between the States. Do you believe that Luke Skywalker was the last of the old Jedi or the start of the new, or both? According to Yoda, I think he was both, wasn't he? You know, or maybe no. According to Yoda, he was the start of the new. That's why it says A New Hope. So I would say the start of the new one. Favorite Boba Fett comic book? Whew. Maybe off the top of my head, Twin Engines of Destruction. All right, I'm pretty sure that's been an hour. Pretty sure we're at an hour. I don't know when I started this, but I'm pretty sure I've been an hour now, maybe even longer. I should have timed it. I just been so busy today, I just forgot. But anyway, folks, I gotta go. Hey, fun as always. Let's do this again. Maybe in June. Maybe my girls will be sleeping better. Probably not. Either way, though, I will see you all later. Y'all have a wonderful, excellent, awesome, amazing day. And this has been fun. See you later. Bye-bye.